Welcome to today's class. Today, we will learn about the graphical representation of piping isometric drawings. To master piping isometric drawings, understanding their various graphical representation methods is crucial. First, we need to clarify the pipeline's direction. We covered some basics in the previous lesson. The pipeline direction follows the orientation symbols as shown in the figure below. The north direction, N or P N on the symbol, must align with the north direction on the piping layout drawing. Other symbols include E, east, W, west, S, south, up, and D, and down. Next, let's explore the sheet quantity, text in drawings, and scale representation in piping isometric drawings. A piping isometric drawing typically represents a specific pipeline section with one drawing per pipeline segment number. For complex or long pipelines with multiple direction changes, they can be split at flanges or welded into separate drawings. However, the same drawing number must indicate the total pages. Simple pipelines with identical materials and specifications can be combined on one drawing with individual segment numbers labeled. Text in piping isometric drawings uses Chinese. Except for standardized abbreviations in English, isometric drawings need not be to scale, but valves and fittings must maintain proportional spacing. Their relative positions in the pipeline segment should be proportionally consistent. For example, a valve in the figure should clearly show proximity to an elbow but distance from a T. Next, let's discuss line types in piping isometric drawings. Pipelines are drawn with thick, continuous single lines. Flow direction arrows are added at appropriate locations. Fittings, except elbows or teeth, valves, and control points, use thin lines with standardized symbols. Connected equipment may use thin double dash lines. Elbows need not be drawn as arcs. Pipelines include various fittings, like elbows and teeth. Common fittings must follow symbols specified in HGT 20519.4-2009 if no standard exists. Outline their shapes with simple graphics. Common fitting symbols are shown below. Elbow T-cross, union, blunt, flange, and concentric reducer. Let's continue studying the representation of specific fittings. Circumferential welds are represented by circles. Flanges on horizontal pipes are shown as vertical short lines. See left figure. Flanges on vertical pipes use short lines parallel to adjacent horizontal pipes. Threaded and socket welded connections use a single short line on horizontal pipes. This line is vertical. On vertical pipes, it aligns with adjacent horizontal pipes. See right figure. Next, let's review connection representation methods. Straight pipe connections include flanged, sockets, threaded, and welded types. See table. The table shows actual photos, assembly diagrams, and standard symbols for each connection. Standard symbols use single or double lines. Single lines are typical. Flanged connections use two thin vertical lines. Socket connections use a thin left opening arc. Threaded connections use a single thin vertical line. Welds are shown as solid dots. Please note these distinctions to avoid confusion. Finally, let's examine symbols. For pipes and fittings, symbols for pipes and fittings in layout and isometric drawings are listed below. Pipes are shown with thick, continuous lines Blunt flanges have two types: threaded or socket weld, or slip-on and butt weld. Concentric reducers have threaded or socket weld, butt weld, and flange types. 90 degrees elbows include threaded or socket weld, butt weld, and flanged connections. Tees similarly have threaded or socket weld, butt weld, and flange types. Welded branches use a solid dot at the junction, similar to tees. Pipe caps also have threaded or socket weld, butt weld, and flange types. Unions include threaded or socket weld pipe joints, and threaded or socket weld unions. Hose connectors use threaded or socket weld or butt weld types. In this lesson, we covered pipeline direction, sheet quantity, text scale, line types, fittings, connections, and symbols. We hope you understand and master these concepts.